It is Thursday evening, June 20, 2024. It was quite warm today. This thermometer said it went up to 96 degrees. This sensor is in a sunny portion of the yard. However, it has a fan inside of it that's supposed to draw air through to keep the temperature accurate even when placed within the sun. How well that works, I don't know. 96 in the sunny portion of the yard, I think, is fairly believable. This other thermometer in here, which is in the shade, says it went up to 88 degrees today. As of now, it is 76, over 70%. The other thermometer says 84%, over 75. I actually didn't think it felt that bad today. I spent a considerable amount of time outside. I ate lunch outside. I did some work on the yard in the morning. And it was warm, but it was just a typical warm summer day. It wasn't anything crazy. Now it's kind of uncomfortable because the humidity came back. At the peak of the day, it went down into the 50s, the humidity outside, so it wasn't that bad. Sometime, I think it was last year or the year before last year, I did a video called Vintage Air Conditioners Running on a Warm, Damp Night or something like that. And I got a lot of views. It was a very well liked video. So we're going to do another one. Let's take a look at the fans and air conditioners running on this damp, warm night. Here in the living room, we have, of course, the big Carrier, 2.5 ton Carrier International Series that is running. It's been set to high fan all day because when it's hot out, you should always use the highest fan setting on these. And notice here that the humidity is low. I previously was having issues with getting the humidity out of this room because the unit here is grotesquely oversized at night. Today it was full sun out. We'll say it was, to take an average of the two, say it was 92 degrees. It's a pretty worst case scenario for this room. The only thing that would make it worse is a room full of people, which would add a considerable amount of heat. This machine handled it just fine. It actually satisfied multiple times throughout the afternoon. Not for long, because the heat gain is very high in here, but it did satisfy multiple times. Removed over 5 gallons of humidity from the room throughout the course of the day. Over the last couple of weeks, I have been using it with the fan on automatic. So when the compressor shuts off, the fan also shuts off. When the compressor is running, the coil gets wet because it's cold, and the water will drip down and eventually out of the machine. When the compressor shuts off, the moisture on the coil gets blown back into the room because the cold that would keep it on the coil is no longer there. So if we turn the fan off with the compressor, with the automatic fan setting, the blowback of the humidity stops, and running it like this keeps it very dry in here. Now the problem with this is that leaving all the moisture inside the unit invites mold and rust, and both of those things are very bad. So this is not really the best option, but it's working for the next couple of days until the weather kind of calms down. I think the better option is going to be to put a second unit in here that's smaller for nighttime use. Okay, now look how much water is pouring out since it just shut off. because there's just so much air moving through it, the fan is so powerful, the whole evaporator chamber goes under a negative pressure, and it keeps a lot of water pooled in the evaporator chamber. And so when the fan shuts off, all that water drains out. A lot of water draining out now that the fan has shut off. If the fan was still running and the compressor turned off because the temperature satisfied, all that moisture you saw drip out of there would be going back into the room. Now the coil, although the water that's in large droplets is running off of the coil and going into the bottom of the unit, the coil is still damp, which inhibits rust and mold. So I don't really like using it this way, and I always say that when you're done using the machine, you should run it on the fan only setting for an extended period of time to dry everything out, to prevent the rust and mold, or at least cut down on the rust. So I don't like using it this way, even though it's working very well this way. We've got the temperature set to around there, which is about 75 degrees. The other downside of using it this way is that the temperature regulation is kind of poor, because now air from the room is not being drawn over the thermostat. The thermostat is near the coil, which is now cold, and will take some time to cool off without the fan running. So we might get a couple degree swing now. Not really a big deal, but if the fan was running all the time, it could keep the temperature within half a degree. It's a very good piece of equipment. So that's that. Next we have this Lake Breeze, which is a rebranded SMC fan. This is the fan of an unknown model number or anything. It's just a basic 12-inch fan from the early 2000s, and it's quite powerful. Even on the low, it still provides a good amount of airflow here at the table, and on medium it can be felt over on the couch and at the computer. So I just kind of have that there, and it does a good job. So I can run the air conditioner a little bit higher, but still feel comfortable using the draft of the fan. Here in the kitchen we have the ceiling fans running. This one's on medium because the bearings are screwed up and need to be replaced. It squeaks if you put it up to high. And this one is on high because the bearings do not need to be replaced and they are working properly. And for the conditioner we have a Fetters, rebranded under Montgomery Ward, which is a store brand. This is a 1-ton conditioner. This, I believe, is the first or second season of use this thing has ever seen. It's in excellent condition, cosmetically, inside and out, and it runs great. Very cold. So this does not have the automatic fan setting. So for now I just have it on continuous. Continue. And I had it on high during the heat of the day, and I turned it back to low when it got cooler out. And this is doing a pretty good job. Today, this was all I used for the inside of the house. This is very rattly. Or not the inside of the house. Duh, it's going to cool on the outside of the house too. I use this for everywhere except for the living room. So I shut the living room door. I put this fan here. This is a 223. I put it on medium, and it was able to hold the whole house in the mid-70s, which is good enough for me. Sometimes you can hear the refrigerant sound, sometimes you can't. It comes and goes. Right now it's fairly audible. It can get louder than this. This machine is very similar to the 10K that I used for a while in here last year. I can tell the difference between this, the 10 and the 12. This has significantly more power to it. I wasn't expecting there to be much difference. It blows a lot colder. The airflow is about the same, but this is much colder. This is into the 40s. The other one was only into the 50s. Now see, the refrigerant just got louder. Nice quiet machine on low. In the computer room, we have the ceiling fan going, medium. This is a Hampton Bay from the 90s, very good quality, working nicely, moving a lot of air. And this Westinghouse, or actually this is a White Westinghouse, a White Westinghouse 5,000 BTU. Now this is another room that also used to get very humid because it's a small room and the capacity is too large for nighttime. It's only 40% now because I've been using it with the fan on automatic. Now of course we already talked about the problems that this could potentially pose, but it's working very well. And this is nice because when I'm sitting out on the deck I can hear it start up. It's pretty cool because it's not real loud. It's pretty subtle, but it's there. The AE has a very distinct sound. I'm going to lower this. I'm going to leave the camera outside, then I'll go turn it on. There's no air conditioner in here, but we'll just take a look at the temperature. 75 over 39. In the bedroom, we have a Carrier Siesta 5000. I just turned this on a few minutes ago. It's getting cold, but it's going to take some time to cool the room itself. It was 75 when I started in here, now it's down to 73. And again, the door's open and I got a fan here pushing the air out so it doesn't get too humid because this one does not have automatic fan. And lastly here in the, actually no, not lastly, we got the garage still. Here in the computer room we have this Casablanca Four Seasons fan, which now that I've used this a couple times, I have to say this is an extremely powerful fan. I'm very impressed with it. And then here we have the Arctic Queen air conditioner running on low. I just turned this on a few minutes ago as well, just to get the cool before nighttime. I like to shut everything off for the night, it's too loud. So now it's down to 72 over 39. Yesterday it was about, was it 83, 85, somewhere in there, somewhere in the mid 80s I believe. And this was all that I used. I closed the door to the living room. I put a fan there, pushed the air down into the kitchen, down the hallway. And I let this run all day on high. And the highest temperature reading out of those, was it 5 rooms between the kitchen, the bathroom, and the 3 rooms, the highest temperature I saw was 76 degrees. So with the living room excluded, this was able to handle the whole house on a pretty warm, uncomfortable day. And this is only a little 5,000. So as I've said many times, I think these little 5Ks get very underestimated. And these can handle a lot more than it says on the box, because what it says on the box or in the product advertisement does not encompass the entire picture of what it's able to handle. I have this cardboard here because it recirculates into the condenser or the evaporator and doesn't work good. In fact, even if I just have it like this, it doesn't dehumidify that well because the air is not circulating around. So I have to keep it angled up pretty considerably like that, and then it works very well. That's a stupid design flaw, because for an additional couple pennies, the louvers could have been thicker and what the heck is the word? Angled upwards. Aimed upwards. I was combining those two words. They could have been aimed upwards and solved this problem, and the machine would have worked so much better for the average user that doesn't do crazy stuff like this. But no. Otherwise, aside from this, I think this is a pretty good machine. It's super easy to clean. It blows pretty cold. That's into the 40s. Only problem is it's obnoxiously loud. I couldn't use this if I was in here trying to do something. I think I might put the Serenity series in here next to give that a little bit of run for this year. That machine is very wide, and I think it might fit this window okay. The side panels come up about 2 inches short on this to cover the window entirely. Here we are outside. Here's the carrier. I did check the temperature of the compressor at the hottest point of the day, and the surface of the side of the compressor was about 200 degrees. I've emptied the bucket twice today. It wasn't completely full, but full enough. I'm gonna go inside and turn that air conditioner on. Sodium street lights, crickets, and the sound of the AE compressor. That's a pretty good summer night to me. I'm going to set the camera up here. I'm going to go turn that thing on and hope the camera doesn't fall. Great, the camera didn't fall. It's a shame that uses a stupid fan design on the evaporator. It's very loud inside. So here we have dueling AEs in the backyard. Okay, let's take a look at the conditioner in the garage. Oh, it's all buggy in here. Not good. Turn on the preheat bug zapper. So we have 2 conditioners in here now. Well, actually that's capped. There's like 25 conditioners in here. But installed, we have this 14K Whirlpool, which is an excellent machine. I used it yesterday for the first time under any real heat load, and it cooled great. The power consumption capped out at 11.6 amps, which was high 80s with the condenser in some sun. So that's a pretty bad scenario, and it was working reasonably well in terms of power consumption. It's allowed to pull 12, And it's going to get close to that because it's such a high capacity on a 115 circuit. 115, 15 amps at that. So then over here we have a Whirlpool, rebranded to Kenmore. This is a 6,000 BTU from 1993. And this also has that stupid fan design on the evaporator that causes it to be excessively loud. It moves decent air, but it's ridiculous for the noise. So this one has automatic fan, which I'm running it on as well. And I have it set to about 70 degrees. And all day I've been checking the temperature in here. It never budged from 69 degrees. Not 1 degree. This is about a 500 square foot room. And this little 6,000 BTU held the whole thing on a 96 degree day. That's pretty good. So again, the whole 6,000 BTU definitely underestimated for what it can do. A lot of people, oh, 6,000 BTU is only for 250 square feet because that's what it says in the box. Nope. There's a lot more to the story than what's on the box. I like these garage installs because you can see the water dripping from the inside. Here it is from the outside. They're pretty loud on the outside too. These are not quiet machines at all. I've emptied this bucket twice today. Not quiet, but it's good quality stuff. Very reliable machine. Very high performing machine too. And of course even louder would be that one, but that's to be expected because of the capacity. And water in the grass because it's so dry. Okay, let's take a look at the two. Oh, here's the Whirlpool. I have not gotten around to fixing this nonsense with the louvers yet. It's a serious motor in there. That's what I collected yesterday. Didn't run it for too long. Really just wanted to see how it would work under a decent heat load. These have great airflow out the condenser. Even all the way back here, I can still feel the airflow. I think that's one of the reasons why these last so long is because the coils run cool. There's a drain hole draining properly. This doesn't remove a lot of moisture in terms of volume. I would have expected a lot more. This only filled this up about halfway till I emptied it when I was out here before. It won't even fill it up overnight. It never seems to drip much more than that. That's like what I get out of a typical 5,000. I don't know why the moisture removal is so limited on this thing. I mean, I shouldn't say it's limited. It works fine on the inside. It pulls plenty of humidity out of the air, but I don't know where it's going. It's hardly going out here. That unit's made in USA. Make sure there's no raccoons or skunks or something around the corner. Nope. There is a stupid bee nest though. The bottom of it fell off, which is kind of weird. I guess now I can spray it pretty easily. It's not a bee nest, it's a stupid wasp or something. So here's the Arctic Queen. And you can see it's pulling about the same moisture as the Montgomery wards. I don't have a bucket here, I really should. Probably starting to dig a hole by now. This is only a temporary setup. I think it's actually quieter on the outside than on the inside. It's not bad equipment for what it is. It's not bad at all. I guess this is moving a little bit more. It's not as much as I would have expected for a 12. Now on the stairs you can kind of see through the unit, which is cool. Doesn't make it any better. Alright, well there you go. Air conditioners and fans running on the heat wave of mid-June. We'll see what this summer brings. If it's anything like last summer, there's going to be a lot of air conditioners activity.